Welcome to Creamer Media's Resources Watch, a weekly video roundup of the events and people making and shaping the news in the mining industry. This week, government Saps involvement crucial for MPRDA enforcement. It's responsible to invest in South Africa, says DRDGold, as it approves 3.5 billion rand capex. And coal miner opening nursery to support million trees, hatchery to restore killed fish. The intervention of the government and the South African Police Service is crucial for enforcing the implementation of the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Development Act, specifically in discouraging illegal mining activities and promoting safer and sustainable alternatives.
Well, I think government intervention, quite honestly, is critical at this point. It's government intervention and, of course, the involvement of the SAPS. Now, we have the laws that are there to be enforced, but we simply don't see any active steps being taken by the DMR in particular. But also, there isn't a commitment from the SAPS to take active steps. I think everything at this point is very reactionary. We're not seeing anything being done in a positive way to deal in particular with the syndicates that are clearly behind the illegal mining. And I think something else that we're seeing is we're not just dealing with zamas around Johannesburg. There are large-scale illegal mining operations happening throughout Mpumalanga, Limpopo, even in the Northwest. And it's ultimately left to landowners and often mining companies who have illegal operations within their mining areas having to take the active steps to increase security, approaching a court to get interdicts, for example. And although requests are made to the DMR to do inspections, to issue directives, there's obviously actively engaging with the SAPS to come and attend at site to try and deal with the illegal operations. And there really is no willingness. And it's really then left to landowners and mining companies to get court orders. And on the back of court orders, you may get some assistance. But even then, it's incredibly difficult. And you're relying then on private security to deal with those issues. So at this point, I think there is no other way of dealing with the matter. The law is there. It's just a question of enforcing it.
The decision of DRDGold to expend capital of 3.5 billion rand this financial year is based on the Cash Flush Mining Company firmly concluding that it is responsible to investment in South Africa amid seemingly unstoppable private sector turnaround momentum.
Look at where capital is going, and a lot of it's going away from South Africa. Not much, or less is coming into South Africa. So one has to reflect on these things carefully before you commit your shareholders funding into that. And we believe that it is responsible to invest in South Africa. We do believe that South Africa doesn't stand or fall based on the quality of political governance in the country. There's a private sector and there's a society which, when they join forces, become unstoppable and can really turn things around. So increasingly, in order to assess whether or not it is responsible, one looks not so much at the kind of challenges that we face, but you also look at what has been the response, or what is the response to those challenges. And the responses to some of those challenges, in fact, I believe have been remarkable. What we are seeing, well, firstly, what we are seeing is that the face of political leadership is systematically changing. We're seeing a different kind of leader emerging, younger, dynamic, with lots of energy, very firm values. At the moment, maybe still more at provincial, at local and provincial level, but increasingly, I think we'll start seeing those faces and those profiles finding their way into the national leadership as well.
Thermal coal mining company Thungela will next month open a nursery to support the planting of 1 million trees and has already commissioned a hatchery to breed fish for reintroduction into the river ecosystem where aquatic life was wiped out earlier this year.
I can tell you the guys are planting lots and lots of trees as we speak. In fact, when I was last at Kurigop, to give you a sense, on one of our mines, which is where we started planting the trees. This year alone, they already had planted 6,000 trees. I know that we're planting trees on the other mines. What is the constraint in terms of our feed to plant these trees is our ability to generate the seedlings. And we have already commissioned a community nursery to produce these trees. We'll be opening that community-owned nursery that will support to be able to generate the 1 million trees that we need. Actually, we're opening it up in 2 weeks' time. So again, I'm quite excited about this. When we took the decision to plant these trees, this was not for carbon offsets. I need to be clear. This is actually a technology for cleaning water that is contaminated. What these trees are able to do is to absorb heavy minerals in the soils and the water that is contaminated and fix it in the tree. For us, that is the primary interest. And of course, there is a benefit. Hopefully someday I can calculate what the carbon capture of a million trees is.
For mining news as it breaks, stay logged on to miningweekly.com and register for our free daily newsletter.